Katy Perry once made history as the first female artist to score 5 number 1 hits from a single album. Now, she can't even crack the top 60. So how does a Grammy-nominated pop icon go from chart-topping success to being mocked by the public? Katy Perry is enduring a wave of backlash, from a poorly received album rollout to underwhelming tour performances, and it's slowly chipping away at her reputation in the US. She once proudly spoke about her Lifetime's tour with starry-eyed ambition, literally aiming for the cosmos. But here on Earth, her American tour dates are struggling, with tickets left unsold. So has Katy's pop legacy reached its final note? Strap in. We're about to trace the dramatic arc of Katy Perry's rise and fall, from pop royalty to fading relevance, and explore why a comeback might now be out of reach. I talk to myself every day and say, "You're brave, you're bold, you're doing this for the next generation, to inspire all kinds of people, especially young girls who will say, 'I want to go to space someday.'" When I think of Katy Perry, my mind flashes back to that unforgettable 2015 Super Bowl moment, when she rode a giant golden lion across the field like a queen claiming her throne. Clad in a dazzling metallic outfit, she didn't just sing Roar, she owned it, radiating pure confidence. It was a spectacle that lit up the stadium and captivated over 118 million viewers, one of the most iconic halftime shows of all time. At that moment, Katy wasn't just a hitmaker, she felt untouchable. A pop juggernaut. Her songs ruled the charts. Her shows felt like cinematic events. She wasn't trying to be an icon, she was one. And then something shifted. The sparkle dimmed. The albums that once broke records barely made noise. The performances that once sparked electricity started to fall flat. The applause for Katy Perry as a feminist trailblazer, it didn't vanish overnight. It just gradually faded to a whisper. Through a series of confusing creative pivots and image reinventions that failed to connect, Katy seemed to dim her own spotlight. There was no explosive scandal, no dramatic public breakdown, just a quiet, unsettling slide from one of pop's brightest stars into cultural obscurity. Imagine being once hailed as Billboard's Woman of the Year, a champion of female empowerment, only to turn around and collaborate with a producer who's been sued for alleged abuse against women. That's exactly what happened with Woman's World, the lead single from Katy's latest album, Project 143. Sonically, the track leans into retro-futuristic electropop, pulsing bass lines and slick production. But Perry's vocals, so processed they sound robotic, stripped of all humanity. And the lyrics? A watered-down, commercialized form of feminism, so shallow and performative it borders on offensive. What was supposed to be an empowering anthem landed with a thud, largely due to one name attached to it, Dr. Luke. Yes, the same Dr. Luke accused by Kesha, Perry's former friend, of sexual and emotional abuse. Fans and critics alike were stunned. How could Katy, once a symbol of strength and solidarity, align herself with someone so controversial? The backlash was swift and unforgiving. Yet, through it all, Katy kept speaking about love. "I feel super connected to love," she said. "This experience has shown me you don't realize how much love you hold, how much you have to give, until the moment you're pushed to discover it." She was referring to her 11-minute spaceflight aboard Blue Origin in April 2025. Joined by media figures like Gayle King and Aisha Bowe, Perry became part of what was promoted as a historic all-female mission, the first since Valentina Tereshkova's groundbreaking flight in 1963. But instead of being celebrated, the launch faced heavy criticism. To many, it felt like a billionaire-funded spectacle, tone deaf at a time when the world faces rising inequality and climate crisis. Critics didn't hold back. "Celebrate real astronauts," one said. "The men train for years. They learn to fly, serve in the military, go through NASA's rigorous selection, and then they earn their seat in space." But Katy? She floated for 11 minutes and plugged her tour while doing it. It wasn't empowerment. It was spectacle, and the internet saw right through it. But, and there have been, that's the other thing. There have been female astronauts. Let's not minimize this. Let's not minimize this. The moment Katy Perry stepped off the Blue Origin capsule and dramatically kissed the ground as if she'd returned from an Apollo 13-style ordeal went viral, but not in the way she hoped. What was meant to be a powerful emotional moment quickly became meme fodder. Across X, formerly Twitter, users didn't hold back, calling the gesture cringe, tone deaf, and outright embarrassing. Some even dubbed it the most ridiculous stunt of her career. While mainstream outlets celebrated the historic flight, hyping the all female crew with slogans like empowering women, they left out a critical truth. Real female astronauts already exist. And unlike Katie and her wealthy companions, they spend years training, studying, and qualifying for missions far more demanding than 11-minute joyrides. What Katie participated in wasn't history, it was a show. A high priced, brief orbit funded by billionaires, with most of her time in zero gravity used to promote her tour. To critics, it felt like a self serving PR move disguised as a feminist milestone. The backlash was immediate. Commentators slammed the flight for cheapening the legacy of real astronauts and flaunting luxury during a time of economic struggle. The image of millionaires floating in space for fun, while millions remain grounded by poverty, didn't inspire. It enraged. And unfortunately for Katie, that wasn't the only storm brewing. Following the commercial flop of Project 143, her Lifetime's tour is struggling. Badly. Ticket sales in U.S. cities like Denver, Minneapolis, and Oklahoma City are lagging, and with dates fast approaching, rumors of cancellations are swirling. Worse still, the show itself isn't winning anyone over. Clips circulating online show Katie looking visibly exhausted and detached on stage. Gone are the tightly choreographed, high energy numbers of her heyday. In their place, sluggish, awkward movements, drawing comparisons to a malfunctioning robot or a low budget talent show. Music outlet Consequence called the performance high school level, a stark contrast to the polished productions of Taylor Swift or Lady Gaga. TikTok users were even more unforgiving. Some called the show a failed tech demo, heavy on visuals, light on emotional connection. Despite a massive budget and a theme promising a space and time journey, critics from the Chicago Sun-Times and St. Paul Pioneer Press agreed. Shallow, disjointed, at times painfully overproduced. To many, Lifetimes feels like a last-ditch attempt to salvage a fading brand, a flashy reminder that not every star can shine forever. Katy Perry, once a commanding force in pop, now faces one of the most challenging chapters of her career. In April 2025, she broke her silence with a heartfelt Instagram post. She spoke candidly about self-worth, fame's pressures, and her growing dependence on therapy to stay grounded. She said she's no longer chasing perfection, but focusing on healing. When the online world tries to make me a human piñata, I take it with grace and send them love, she wrote. Because I know so many people are hurting in so many ways, and the internet is very much a dumping ground for the unhealed. Her message was graceful, but it didn't shift the public narrative. Right now, Katie's story feels like the slow winding down of a once unshakable career, a journey defined by meteoric highs and a painfully public descent. It's like she's lost the connection to the audience she once galvanized. She set out to be a feminist champion, but aligned with Dr. Luke, a figure long criticized for mistreating women. Now, those slogans of empowerment feel more like marketing than conviction. And Katie's image faded, dulled by missteps that feel out of step with the current moment. Her productions still dazzle with scale, lights, themes, sci-fi aesthetic, but beneath the surface, something's missing. The heart, the soul, the fire that once made her impossible to ignore. No artist can live off nostalgia forever.